Hey guys, welcome to another accounting video. In this particular video, we will not be solving this paper exactly, rather analyzing this accounting paper for O levels. In other words, basically providing a reaction or analysis to this paper for this paper. Plus, if you have any difficult topics in your O levels accounting, please comment down below and let me know what topics are those, and I would try to make a video on them as soon as possible. So let's get started with this video and try to analyze this paper. In other words, look at what topics they have tested in this paper, and maybe some of the topics will be repeated in October, November 2020 exam or 2021 exam. Because this is so in this paper we will be looking at May June 2020, and it's variant 2, paper 1 variant 2, and as we know, this is a multiple choice exam paper, and now you have 35 questions, 35 multiple choice. Before, in the past, there used to be 30 multiple choice, but again you have 15 minutes extra for extra 5 questions, right? So that sounds reasonable. And as usual, I think, again, there should not be any negative marking in this paper. Yes, they say it here. So reading instructions is important, as I say. So 1 mark for each correct answer, and then no mark will be deducted for a wrong answer. So no negative marking, in other words, which is nice. So you can take an educated guess. And I have a video on how to attempt multiple choice questions. If you're interested in watching that, so you can watch that. There are 2 strategies that I talk about on attempting your multiple choice exams for the exam. It could be applicable to any other exam, because this channel is about accounting. So I'm mainly talking about accounting, but you can apply those strategies to your economics or business studies exams or any other exams where you have multiple choice questions. So let's get started with the paper first. Let's get started with the paper and look at multiple choice 1. We will try to look at all the multiple choice questions. As I said, we will not be solving. It's just an analysis paper. We will analysis video. We will look at the topics that are tested in the accounting exam, because I think that's relatively important equally to understand what is being tested in the exam. It gives you an idea on what you need to prepare, rather than just solving the exams. So let's look at the first question. The first question is basically asking us on like, what are the examples of bookkeeping? So basically we have 4 statements in here, and we will read these statements, identify which are the examples of bookkeeping. So this question is fairly easy, I would say. If you know the concept, what bookkeeping is, this question is fairly easy. So we will try to put 35 multiple choice questions into categories of easy, medium, and hard. So we will look at which question is easy, which is medium, and which is hard. So I think this one falls into an easy spectrum, the easy spectrum part. So if this is a timeline, it falls in the easy spectrum. What bookkeeping is a very basic question. You must know this by now. So let's look at multiple choice 2. How does a trader uses the information provided in the financial statements? So this question is basically on the use of financial statements. Use of financial statements, right? So use of financial statements for a trader. Right. So if you look at, you will generally go through the options and try to find out the correct answer by taking the most relevant choice, most close choice, which talks about the use. So for example, if you look at option A, to calculate the amount of cash drawings. Now for this, balance sheet is just enough. Balance sheet is just enough. But this question specifically is talking about financial statements. So financial statement involves all financial statements. So the answer to basically option A will be wrong, because this is talking about like this drawings number can specifically come either from balance sheet or maybe income statement. But the question is asking you how the trader can use the information provided in the financial statements, right? So it's fairly, if you look at it, it's very apparent here. It's basically to judge business performance. So again, this question would fall into the easy spectrum. Multiple choice 3. A trader bought new fixtures. But let's look at the question first. The question is asking, how does this purchase affect the accounting equation? So if you remember the accounting equation, that's asset equals to liabilities plus equity. And then we have to look at the effect of this transaction on this accounting equation. So a trader bought a new fixture, that's basically asset is going up. He paid half of the purchase price in cash. So there's downward trend in asset as well. So if you remember your accounting rules, so there's going to be debit of new fixtures. There's going to be debit of new fixtures, credit of cash because half is paid in cash, and agreed to pay a balance in 2 months' time. So credit liability, right? So two accounts are affecting the asset side, and one account is affecting the liability side, and then their equity is not really being affected in this case. Right. So let's say this question, I would say if this is a line, easy, medium, and hard, it's very close to, like, let's say here, very close to the easy. So again, not that hard, easy questions. You would see easy questions. I would say your first few questions would be relatively easy. That kind of trend is appearing up. So probably easy questions first. Multiple choice 4. So if you look at the options here, this is actually provision of doubtful debts topic. Provision of doubtful debt topic. So if you know things about provision for doubtful debt, for example, calculation of doubtful debt, journal entry for doubtful debt, calculation for bad debts, journal entry for bad debts. These could be the questions that could be asked. I apologize for my writing, but then again, I'm explaining at the same time, so it should be easier to follow. So this question is basically asking you about provision for doubtful debts. I don't think I should spend much time in here. You guys must be expert in this. As I've solved some of the papers from 2010 to 2015, so you can always look at those papers and look at those questions. Plus, I do have a specific video on how to make journal entries for provision for doubtful debts. You can always watch that too. So I would say this is again a fairly easy question. So far 1 to 4 multiple choice have been easy. So that's why I say I think the first few questions of multiple choice would be relatively easy if you look at a holistic perspective. Let's look at question 5. So question 5 is basically asking which statement about the balance on Cindy's account in Ann's ledger on 30th April is correct. So basically, you will have to make an T account in this case. I would say make a T account in this case, and make or follow the balances, and then you will end up calculating some balance in here, and then you have to be very careful and in who owes who. So I'm trying to be telling you some strategies or tips here as well. So you have to be really careful when reading. You have to make sure that you identify parties correctly. So you must identify the parties correctly, right? So basically, if you have to put this in spectrum, easy, medium, and hard, I would say it's very close. It's somewhere in between. It could have a name, maybe easy medium question, easy medium question. So I would say this is fairly easy medium question, depending upon, some students will find it easy, some might find it a little hard, or I would say medium. It's not really hard question, because you should be familiar with how to make T accounts. So I would say medium. Some will find it easy, some will find it on the medium spectrum there. So let's look at question 6, goods bought on credit. Again, the first thing, we will read the question first. Where will Tumlo record the return of goods? So this is basically return of goods, and this is the party. So you have to first see whether the party, which is Tumlo, either this party is buyer or seller. So if you read the statement, goods bought on credit by Tumlo from Tegbo, so Tegbo is the seller, and then this guy is the buyer, right? This guy is the buyer. So if this is the buyer, then return of goods is basically purchase return. The return of goods is basically purchase return. And then, of course, if you look at this option, I would say it's option C. You would record it in general ledger, which is the big ledger, and then a purchase ledger, which is ledger specific for the purchases. So again, if you have to put this in perspective, it's rather relatively an easy question. First, you identify the party, and then you have to look for the relevant option. Multiple choice 7. So let's look at what was the closing balance on the statement of account on 30th April. So again, this is basically about T accounts, or follow. I would say follow the money, and you will get the answer. If your basics are very strong, strong accounting basics, strong accounting basis. This question would be easy to medium, I would say, easy to medium. Some students will find it relatively easy, some will find it relatively difficult. You must also understand what debit note is, what credit note is, because these are terms which will affect the accounting treatment, right? So these are the terms that affect accounting treatment. So if you would like to particularly solve some of these problems, if you can let me know which multiple choice questions are difficult for you, and then I can have an explanation in another video for you guys. But this one is basically trying to analyze the question paper, put it into easy, medium, hard perspective, and try to give you some ideas over there on how to solve the paper, or to guide you in, for the question. Right, so let's look at multiple choice 8. So multiple choice 8, how much was received in full settlement from a customer who bought 25 items and paid after 35 days? So basically, this is about payment calculation, or money received calculation, I would say. Money received calculation. So for example, you would have an account receivable because the business sold goods, and then based on the credit policy, you will calculate how much money was received. This is the topic of discounts as well. So you have to take care of the discounts. So I would say this involves fairly some calculations over there. So again, easy to medium questions. So I would say, if you look at it, your first 1 to 5 multiple choice question can easily come into easy, and then let's say we can expect 5 to 10 as like medium easy, medium easy, or easy medium. It's up to you. You can call it anyway. in any way. So we will see, and we will see at the end, like how questions, what pattern emerges. So that's something interesting that we will see over there. Then you have question 9. So basically, how John would record this. So basically, this is your entry. It's asking about journal entry. Um, if you know the debit credit rules, I would say you are good to go. You are good to go. So I would categorize this in easy category. You should know this. You must know this, because if you don't know how to make journal entries, then there's a problem. But this is fairly easy, I would say. Journal entries is a very basic thing that you start accounting with. That's the very basic thing that you learn in the accounting. So this should be easy question. Again, this is asking about journal entry, so I won't waste much time here. Accounting rules are important in this. Your debits and credits are important. So I would say this is an easy question. This is an easy question. Let's look at question 11. So what was the error made in totaling the sales journal? So you basically, so there must be some error, some error here. So you have to spot the error, and quantify the effect. So you have to see whether the error has undercasted or overcasted. So you will calculate some amount over there, and then you would see whether it's undercast or overcast. I would say this question would be in medium perspective. It could be, it won't come into easy. It will take some time for you to understand the error and then solve for it. So this definitely is a medium type question there. Multiple choice 12. What was the correct loss for the year? So you have to perform a calculation in this case. Perform a calculation, right? So you have to calculate the correct loss for the company, which is, again, this would be a medium question, because it will take some time to understand and digest the information which is given here. So you will look at it and you will try to find the loss made, the correct loss that should be recorded in the company books. Right, the company books showed 16,000, but something there are these entries that you need to. These are basically adjusting entries, I would say. So you have to adjust your numbers there, and then you have to calculate the correct loss. So I would say it's a medium because it will take time to understand, plus put it into perspective, and then calculate the number. So let's look at multiple choice 13. What would result in a cash book balance being lower? So your cash book balance is lower than the balance shown in a bank statement. So basically, this question is asking what from one of these options. You can always read these options. So basically, I would try to explain what this question is asking you here is why a cash book has less money than bank. So bank has more money, but cash book shows less balance. So one of the examples could be, for example, a direct deposit from your accounts receivable into the bank. So a customer directly deposit the money into your bank account, and you are not aware of it until you receive the bank statement. So your bank would have a higher balance, but in your cash book, you still have not received that money, whereas actually you have received that money in your bank statement, in your bank account. So your bank statement will show that. So this is one of the example, but you can always search. You can always look at the options, read these options, and find the correct answer over there. Right. So I would say again, this would be in medium. So from now on, you would start seeing more medium questions, I would say, rather than easy. But we will see there might be some easy questions. It would be a mix. It would be a mix of, because you cannot have a set pattern over there. The first few would definitely be easy, but they could mix up with easy medium questions over there as well. Multiple choice 14, where can she obtain this information? So where can she obtain the information of these two? So basically, if you read this, it's mainly talking about sales ledger. If you have an idea on like what information sales ledger control account prepares, and then if you read these two lines, you would have to identify where this information will be shown. So again, I would say this would be a question which would come into easy, medium. Some will find it easy, some will find it on the medium spectrum. And depends, if you have not studied at all, then I would say this question could easily be hard for you. But if you have fairly studied, then it should be under the easy, medium perspective over there. Multiple choice 15, how much was the capital expenditure? Now, I would rather say this question is, again, easy, medium. Some will find it easy, some will find it medium, because you have to perform some calculation and be technical over there. And to know what capital expenditure is, again, important. And then you will have to spot the CE and basically sum up. So I would say easy, medium perspective over there. Some will find it easy and some will find it hard. Multiple choice 16, what was the effect on the profit for the year of correcting this error? So the error basically, let's see what's the error. So this is the error. It was then found that the reducing balance method at 30% per annum should have been used. So basically, the company used a straight line method. From straight line method, you have to go to reducing balance method. Reducing balance method. I would say this question is medium, because you would have to calculate depreciation under SLM, then calculate depreciation under reducing balance method, RBM, and then compare the results. So this would fairly take time. I would say at least 1 to 2 minutes, at least when you are doing the exam. So yeah, fairly medium type question. Multiple choice 17, which journal entry records the depreciation? So again, this is about journal entry. Journal entries, I would put this into easy. This is easy. You should know how to make depreciation entries. If you would like to watch an entry on how to make depreciation entries and what depreciation is, I do have a video in my basic accounting series over there, so you can always watch that. If you let's look at question 18. So question 18, what do these balances represent? So basically, you have to pay attention to debits and credit, because if it's a receivable, receivables are usually assets, but debit and credit will affect the entry or the nature of the account. So commission receivable, this is a debit. this definitely is, I would say, income outstanding, because you have to receive this and you have a debit balance over there. Whereas a credit balance, and assets have debit balance, credit balance, this is a liability. This is a liability. And rent receivable, of course, you have received rent in advance, that is income prepaid. All right, that is income prepaid, and this would be income outstanding. So I would say this question is medium. It's relatively medium. It's not easy, because you have to pay attention to debit and credits over there. Some students may just look at the term receivables and they can easily go for option A. This option A would be wrong, because you have to take into account the debit and credits over here as well. So I would say medium, because there's a trick in the question over there. Multiple choice 19, how much rent was received from Kumar during the year? So you have to, again, you have to see what's the monthly rent in this case, because it says he owed 2 months rent and they do not give you the dollar amount. So how do you do that? You don't, what's the rent of those 2 months, right? So annual rental income is actually 3,600. So per month rent would be 3,600 over 12. That's $300 per month of rental income. So you have per month rental income. Now this is basically asking you about how much cash you received, let's say during the year, the actual cash you received during the year. So that would be actually 3,600 minus the prepaid 9,900 and minus the 300 times 2, that which is going to be 600, and that comes to 2,100. So your answer actually going to be is option A. So let's say fairly this is a medium question because of this trick in here. You will have to calculate the 2 months rent by yourself by taking this information in account, the very first sentence of this question. So I would say fairly medium question over there. Multiple choice 20, what was the effect of the incorrect inventory valuation on Joel's financial statements at 31st December 2019? So this is basically about inventory errors or inventory valuation errors, a very commonly tested topic, and a lot of information is available. I'm sure a lot of information is available in your notes, so you can refer to the notes. And I would say this is this goes into medium perspective as well. This question won't be easy. It would be fairly difficult. Multiple choice 21, what was the effect of this error? So this is the error, right? This is the error, and then effect is happening on two things: profit for the year and capital employed. You should know what capital employed is. Capital employed is owner's equity plus the long-term debt. The owner of the business took goods for his own use, but forgot to make an entry in the account. So basically there were drawings, and then there's an omission of the drawings. This is basically omission of drawings, and how this will impact the profit and capital employed. So again, I would say this would fall into medium perspective over there. It really depends. Some students might find it easy as well, but I would say this is relatively a medium question. Multiple choice 22, which item would be most beneficial to Rajit in 2020? So you have to basically perform an analysis here. You have to basically performance analysis of the information presented here. in this case, and then you have to find most beneficial item to Rajid, this guy, during the year 2020. So I would say this would fall into medium to hard perspective, more closer to the hard side, because this will take some time. It may take 2 to 3 minutes to solve this question, at least 2 to 3 minutes at the very minimum. Right. So, but if you practice, it may take less time. And this is also a repetitive question. Repetitive question. This has been tested somewhere in your previous past papers. Multiple choice 23. What was the closing balance of his current account? Right. So you have this information presented here. Current account. You have current account, right? You have current account in partnership. If you know how to prepare a current account, you can easily use this information and then prepare a closing balance there. So again, I would say this is from medium to hard, because it will take some time, again, 2 to 3 minutes at least, to read the question, to understand, to digest it. It will take some time. So but the key there is to practice. As long as you practice, you should be fine. Multiple choice 24. What was the total equity on 31st December 2019? So you would look at these options, identify the equity item. So for example, this one is a liability. Debenture is a liability. So you have to identify the equity items there, and then you will calculate the total equity balance. I would say this would I would say fall into easy to medium, more on the medium side, because again, it will take some time to calculate the number. So you will identify that. So for example, this is an equity item. This is an equity item. Then you have some information here which affects the equity. I'm not going to solve it, but I'm just telling you it will take some time. So more like a medium question, but not that hard. So if you know the concepts over there, it's fairly easy, I would say. Multiple choice 25. Which is a feature of debenture? Now this is an easy question. If you know what debentures are, you can easily spot the feature of a debenture over there. You can easily spot the feature of a debenture. It's very straightforwardly given to you. Because I'm not solving this paper, I may not give you the answer over there, but the answer is just straight in your eyes. It's very, very, very apparent over there. Let's look at question 26. Which cost is part of the prime cost for manufacturing? Again, this is an easy question. If you know what prime cost is, prime costs are basically direct cost. So, if you know what direct costs are, what prime cost is, which cost will be part of the prime cost, this is fairly an easy question. So you will know the answer over there right away. Multiple choice 27. What was the factory cost of production? This is again a cost of production. I would say from manufacturing accounts. That would be the topic. Fairly easy question. You just need to follow the formula here. Just know the formula. That's important. And if you know the formula, it's an easy question. Multiple choice 28, what was the amount of the credit sales? And then you have this thing given here. Basically, you can prepare a sales ledger control account, or basically trade receivable account based on the information given here. These are trade receivables, so you can easily calculate the amount of credit sales here. It's going to be trade receivable account because it's using the terms trade receivable here rather than sales ledger control account. So it's going to be trade receivable account. And then once you prepare the account, T account, this is T account. Using this information, you would be able to know what credit sales is. I would say this question is medium because it requires you to know some basic knowledge on trade receivable accounting over there. Multiple choice 29, what were the purchases? Again, you have been giving things, so this basically requires use of financial ratios and some formula. So like, for example, to calculate purchases here based on this given information, you actually need COGS, opening inventory, plus purchases minus closing inventory. How do you calculate COGS? You might have to use the revenue number over there. So for example, gross profit is the difference between the revenue minus COGS, and that's how you will get your number using COGS. You will calculate gross profit using the markup, and then you have drawings as well, so you have to take care of drawings too. So I would say this is fairly medium to hard question because this will require you to make some calculations and use of this formula. And again, this is a repetitive question too. It has been tested previously in the past papers. So I have solved such similar questions before in some of in your previous past papers if you have watched my videos over there. And then again, if there are multiple choice questions that you find particularly difficult in this paper, you can comment down below, and then I would try to make a video on those. So multiple choice 30, cellulose liquid acid test. So what would have caused this? So something has happened here. So the acid test ratio was higher in 1st January 2019 than it was on 1st December 2019. So what would have happened to basically decrease acid test on 31st December? To know this acid test formula is current assets minus the inventory over current liability. So you have to see and understand what is happening to the formula. You have to understand what is happening to the formula. So if you understand this, you can easily answer this question there. And this question is basically from I would say financial ratios, interpretation of financial ratios. So again, this question would be medium to hard question over there. Multiple choice 31, what explains these changes? So what has happened? So you have to see what has happened to the financial ratios. Again, this is a question from financial ratios. The topic financial ratios is fairly easy, relatively easy, not that hard. So if you see from in year 2, the profit margin has gone up by 5%, and then the return on capital employed has gone down by 3%. So you have to do an analysis here. You have to do an analysis here based on this change. Fairly, it would, I would say, medium to hard question. Multiple choice 30, which external parties would be interested in accounting ratios of a business? And if you look at these options, only this is an internal party, whereas all these are external parties. But now this is a trick question, and I would say then this will make into medium to hard question. right? Which external parties, you only have one correct option there, either A, B, or D, but which parties would be interested in accounting ratios, right? So it would be more like investors, because they need to see whether they want to invest in your company or not. And how do they judge you? They judge you based on, how do they judge the company is based on the accounting ratios over there. So let's look at multiple choice 33 and 34. Both of them are from basically accounting principles, right? So which accounting principles? So accounting principles are important, as we say. They are always tested, always. If you look, even if you look on the past papers that are solved from 2010 to 2015, last questions are on accounting principles, always. So accounting principles is a very important topic, and I cannot emphasize its importance furthermore. It is important. You must know all the accounting principles that are there, that are being taught to you. Let's look at our last multiple choice, that is multiple choice 35. What is the effect of this on the interested parties? So a limited company applied the accounting objective of comparability in preparing its financial statements. So something has happened here now. How this will affect the interested parties? They applied comparability, objective of comparability in the financial statements, and how this would affect the so-called interested parties, or they can also use a term called stakeholders, because stakeholders are equally parties that are interested in the business. So I would put this into medium to hard category. So generally speaking, if we just try to summarize the paper, summarize the findings of the paper. You should know financial ratios. You should know accounting principles. You should know accounting equation. You should know debit credit rules. You should understand what is debit note and credit note. You should understand trial balance errors. You should understand partnership accounting. In this paper, club accounting was not tested. So we did not have any question on club accounting. So in future, you might have a question on club accounting. In future papers, you might have a question on club accounting, right? So in this paper, these were fairly the common topics there. You should know what is capital expenditure, right? So you must know these sort of topics, and these three are, I would say, very, very important. Having an understanding of how to make accounting entries is really important. And the accounting principles, because they will always be tested. Other topic was provision for doubtful debts, entry of provision for doubtful debts, right? So these topics are important. And then again, as I said, if there are any multiple choice questions that you find difficult in this paper, please comment down below, and I will try to make a video on that. Plus, if there are any topics that you find difficult in your O-levels accounting exam preparation, you can again comment down below and let me know what are those topics, and I will make a video on that too. Thank you very much for watching this video till end. If you have been watching this till end, I hope you have been watching this till end, because I personally think that this is really informative. Analyzing paper is equally important. And thank you very much for watching. If you feel this video was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more accounting videos like these. And don't forget to comment on the video below. Thank you very much.